Welcome, one and all, to the following segment of enjoyment and an escape from reality. But beware, the show you are about to bear witness to will not hold back when it comes to spoilers, language, and things not appropriate for work or children. If you continue on, we hope that you laugh at the banter, that you are thrilled by the topic of discussion, and marvel at the host's dedication to their craft, because you can only get that type of treatment here at Monster Madness. You have been warned.
Hi, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Monster Madness, a podcast dedicated to all sorts of creatures, features, and beyond. I'm Erica, and joined with me is a man who suffers along all the time to watch really bad zombie movies. My faithful co-host, Matthew.
The whole time, all I could think about was you saying the word minutia.
Like when I was speaking right there?
I for whatever reason, the word minutia popped in my head when you started, because that's a word I never heard a whole lot of until we started doing the Monster Minutia bit. But also want to point out that we are recording this on Friday, and we've both had a week. So Erica might be bleeding from a cat attack, and I'm drinking. So fucking buckle up, people.
100% I am bleeding, I think. But that's beside the point. You can find Monster Madness on all your favorite podcasting platforms, social media sites, and things of that nature. Matt does stream video games and drum sessions from time to time, so you can check that out on our Twitch channel. If you'd like to support our show, you can do that in many different ways, such as Patreon, buying merch, donating to the show, or just simply leaving a review on your favorite podcasting provider. Those 5 stars go a long way, and if you decide to write something, we will read it on the show. All the links for the aforementioned things will be posted in our show notes. Matt, you got anything that you want to just toss in there? Anything random? You already told everybody I was bleeding.
You're not actually bleeding, and if you are, I cannot see it from here. But I got nothing.
No, I'm bleeding a little bit.
Oh shit! No, that's no bueno.
I told you the motherfucker got me.
Yeah, I need to win the lottery because I'd like to purchase recording equipment for drums at home, which would then make drum streams a little better. But that's a different fucking story.
Yeah, so it has been a week,
Mm-hmm.
and today was particularly poop. But actually, I would say usually these movies cheer me up. This one did not. I'm already just gonna fucking rip the veil off.
I was gonna ask, because you watched this yesterday, I believe, right?
I started watching it last night. Realized that it was a subtitled movie with no English dub. I usually do watch the subtitles, but I did not have the bandwidth to sit there and read a movie. I didn't have it today either, but I was like, well, if I have no choice, then that's, that's where that's the mood I'm going to be in watching this. And yeah, it was a poopy.
Yeah, it's not great. So I know I think it was the last episode we talked about why, because I've watched this before for Podcast of Terror, and I hated it then and really hoped I wouldn't hate it now, but I still fucking hate it. And it's not that the subtitles, it's not the subtitles that's the issue. It's just a bad fucking movie. And Norwegian's kind of a mushmouth language. So
I have no idea what language is even spoken in this, to be honest with you.
I assumed Norwegian because it took place and it is a Norwegian movie.
So you're probably right. But either which way, before we continue to shit talk this movie horrendously, this week on Monster Madness, we're covering 2009's Dead Snow. So, Dead Snow has a runtime of 1 hour and 32 minutes. It is not rated. It was released in Norway on January 9th, 2009. It had numerous production companies: Euphoria Film, Miho Film, Barrett's Film, Film Camp, News on Request, Yellow Bastard Productions, and Svart Arbid. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
Svart Arbid.
I have news from the Rockies.
In context, we were talking about Dan Sauer, and there's a clip where he talks about going to visit his parents, and that's what dad or mom lived in Colorado. His dad lived in San Francisco. So just fucking watch it. It's hilarious, but yeah. Patricia says you are a drunk. A loser. I also know Dan Soder's a big fan of this podcast, so get at us, buddy.
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be fucking stupid, but yeah.
I do wonder if, there are famous people who have come across, or like people who movies that we've covered and hopefully praised, where they're just like, what if like, what if like Dwayne Johnson listened to the show and he was just like, they're fucking funny.
I mean, he did think Dylan was a Make-A-Wish kid, so I don't know if he necessarily is the smartest man around town.
Here's the thing. Is that a slight to Dylan or is it a compliment at the same time? He looks childlike. However, he looks sickly childlike.
I think it was a slight towards Dylan, and also the fact that The Rock wasn't paying attention to the active roster on WWE, didn't know that there had been a little person there for a number of years.
Let's not shit on The Rock.
I'm not shitting on The Rock, but I think Jumanji's a good movie.
That's the one you're gonna pull?
It's just the first one that came to mind. Like, I think he's funny in a lot of movies. Pain and Gain is an incredible movie that I don't think people give enough credit to.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh.
It seems familiar, though. I do like him and Kevin Hart, but it kind of gets old for me.
I agree.
Like their shtick.
So, Pain and Gain, it's a true story about, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he's played by Mark Wahlberg, who basically starts. He's like a personal trainer, and then I can't think of the fucking guy's name. It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm just gonna look it up. Hang on. Because
I am from the Scorpion King era.
The worst part is it's fucking Tony Shalhoub.
Oh my God.
Which goes back to a conversation we had before we recorded, which I will not reiterate. But yeah, so Mark Wahlberg is training Tony Shalhoub, who's a rich person, and then they kidnap him to try to get a bunch of money out of him, and just like fucking everything goes fucking sideways. Like at one point, I think it's The Rock actually he kills someone on accident by dropping a bunch of weights on their face because they're all big meatheads. But yeah, it's a wild fucking story, and it's actually a really, really, really good movie. I think it's on
Interesting.
Paramount, maybe. It's on something you have access to outside of other means of watching it. But yeah, we're not here to talk about that as much as I would much rather talk about 2013's Pain and Gain starring Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne Johnson, Anthony Mackie, and Tony Shalhoub. And Ed Harris. He's also in there. The box office is $86.2 million.
We just did for inflation. All right, so back to Dead Snow. It was distributed by Atlantic Film, Euphoria Film, IFC Films, and Aya Films, and 24 more others, but I did not feel the need to recite all those.
I think you're fine.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Special effects were done by Dansky Special Effects Services, Freak FX, and Storm Studios, and they got their music clearances from Hakate Entertainment Group, and it was filmed in, as we've talked about, Norway.
Norway.
Now listen, Norway. I'm going to butcher these Norwegian names. Just have mercy on my soul, please. It's been a day.
Just make sounds and like mush it all together, and I think it'll be passable. If you'd like, we can switch off so that you're not the only person butchering names.
Oh no, it's fine. I know my lot in life, and if you listen to the show, I do kind of have like a stutter, so don't make fun of me. That's being.
I thought you were gonna say I kind of have a Norwegian accent a little bit, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, didn't you notice? Tommy Wirkola, Stig Freud, Henriksen, Geir Vigar Hole. Stig also stars in it. Charlotte Frogner, Lasse Valdal, Evie Kasseth Roaston, Jep Beck Larson, Jenny Cavalan, Ann Dahl Torp, Bjorn Sundquist, and Oren Gamst. Huh! I did it. There's O's with slashes in them. I don't know what that means. I'm not an umlaut, so I don't know.
Umlauts are German.
I know. I mean, there is Germans in the movie, kind of.
True. Which I have a minutia that you probably have that we're going to wait until the end for me to cover about that.
KO. So the taglines, which are honestly the best part of the fucking film, there's only one, and you'll appreciate this because I actually think they might be speaking German because the tagline is in German. It's Ein, Zwei, Die. And if you speak German, you know that 1, 2, 3 is Ein, Zwei, Drei. Just take out the R. clever. I like it. I approve. I read this and I had high hopes. It's clever. It's smart.
Okay, so I looked up 1, 2, 3 in Norwegian.
Yeah.
It's ento tre, which I'm
this is German.
butchering what. Yeah, so it certainly is, but that makes sense given the fact that the zombies are Nazis, which I'm waiting my turn patiently for the minutiae.
Don't worry, we'll get there quick.
Hopefully.
So what's the budget?
Too much.
I mean, I already know the answer, but
and it's funny that I said too much. Legitimately, I think they spent too much money, but it was $2 million. So inflation, because that's fucking kind of my thing here, 2.9 million. We're getting it becomes less impressive the closer and closer to present day we get, but it only made $200,000. So
Yep.
like the box office was 2.2 million. So that's only $300,000 right now. So instead of making, which whatever, I mean, fucking, it's a turd. It's not a good movie. Even if I could understand what they were saying, it was fucking bad.
it was not good.
No, I have to read 9 paragraphs about it.
Did you count?
No, I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's only 7.
Oh, see, Bagger, that's positive.
You know, the old, it's the old overpromise, underdeliver. No, underpromise, overdeliver. I'm bad at being a fucking corporate American.
Both sounded good.
True. Thank you very much. Am I good for the plot? I don't know if you have anything.
Oh
else
yeah,
I
no,
wanna
go.
kick off.
I have like 3 notes from watching the movie, and that's about it.
Not me. A woman, Sarah. The punctuation is awful in classic Wikipedia form, so I'm just throwing that out there now because I don't pre-read this. That's your warning. A woman, Sarah,
Fucking do it live.
Yeah, fucking exactly. Being chased through the snows of Norway, ultimately cornered and eaten by zombies wearing World War II Nazi SS uniforms. Because the Nazis had other uniforms outside of World War II?
Maybe like their summer outfits.
Their fucking summer attire. 7 students on Easter
like Lederhosen.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 7 students on Easter vacation arrive at a small cabin near Oxford. The cabin is owned by Fergard, Sarah's boyfriend. The group begins to drink and party until a mysterious hiker arrives. Funny story, when I first watched this, when they first opened the door and he lifts his hood, I thought it was Bryan Cranston. He tells them the dark history of the region during World War II. A force of Hersa group led the Strand of Herzog, occupied the area for 3 years. The Nazis abused, tortured the local people. Near the end of the war, the Germany's defeat looming, the soldiers looted all the town's valuables. However, the citizens staged an uprising and ambushed them, killing many. Survivors, including Herzog, were chased into the mountains, and it was assumed that they all froze to death. The hiker then continues on his way that night. Vaugard wakes to a figure placing something beneath the floorboards of the cabin. He calls out, believing it to be Sarah, bless you, but she ignores him and leaves. Vaugard follows, finds her outside covered in blood. Vaugard suddenly jolts awake in his bed, revealing it was a dream. Meanwhile, the hiker has set up camp in the mountains and is eating dinner when he is disturbed by a noise outside. He investigates and is attacked and killed by a zombie. The next morning, Vaugard, out looking for Sarah, discovers the hiker's body. He searches the area, falls through the snow into a cave, and is knocked unconscious. After sunset, Erland finds an old wooden box filled with valuables and golden trinkets. They celebrate, and one of them pockets a gold coin. They eventually return the rest of the treasure to the box. Erland goes to the outhouse where he and Chris have sex.
First note. First fucking note. Literally the rage that went through my body. I'm already not having a good time watching this movie. And then this man, now I don't like to shame anybody. He's gross. And not only is he gross, there's an ick factor here because the man went out to an outhouse, and proceeded to take probably a disgusting shit.
Mm-hmm.
This girl, Chris, goes in there in the midst. Like, there's no flushing. It's just literally feet underneath of them. And after this man has taken a shit and the poop particles are still flying all around them, slips his dick inside of her and fucks him. In the cold, it's freezing, there's shit particles everywhere, he's not attractive. Why? I understand. They're like, it's a horror movie, it's funny, someone has to get laid at least once. Why? Unless this man pees sitting down, you know he was out there dropping a deuce. And that bothers me more than anything in this entire movie. I was waiting for him to be like Blumpkin in like a Norwegian. There's probably no Norwegian word for Blumpkin. Be like herba derba derba Blumpkin. Like, are you Google translating Blumpkin?
Well, never mind. Fucking, it took me to Bumpkin, not Blumpkin.
And for the listeners listening, if you don't know what a Blumpkin is when a penis-having person gets a blowjob from a mouth-having person while they're taking a shit. We got to be all-inclusive.
No, that's
And
fine.
that,
the
to me-
fucking penis-having person has sent me to the moon.
Well, good. I'm glad. I think that there are fates worse than death, and Blumpkin is probably at least in the top 5. I'd rather die.
Google Translate says Blumpkin in English is Blumpkin in Norwegian.
There you go. Here's a bird, a Blumpkin. But yeah, I was bothered.
No, and I don't blame you. If I'm drinking heavily or in the middle of the night, I will sit and pee. Come fucking find me, but I want to keep my eyes closed in both situations. I will sit. I don't want to have to aim. Not that I'm excusing what has gone on, because at the end of the day, that bitch be nasty.
Yeah, that's gross.
Afterwards, Erland returns to the cabin, drops a gold coin after dropping the deuce. Chris is attacked by a zombie and killed. The others leave the cabin to look for her, find Sarah's rucksack buried in the snow. Rucksack's the German word for backpack, by the way. Upon returning to the cabin, they are attacked. Erland's killed in an attempt to defend the cabin, and the others secure the cabin. Lots of worse use of the word cabin there.
Say cabin one more time.
Cabin.
There you go. Okay.
Cabin.
Yeah.
Vagard comes around in the cave, discovering German firearms and helmets, as well as Sarah's severed head. He is attacked, but escapes to the surface, where he is confronted by a zombie. Vagard stabs the zombie in the eye, but is knocked from the cliff side by a second assailant. Vagard is bitten in the neck by a zombie, whilst the two hang on the cliff using an intestine as a rope. He climbs back to the snowmobile, stitches his wounds, and mounts an MG-34 machine gun to the snowmobile. You can be okay? Meanwhile, the remaining 4 students decide to split up. The 2 men, Martin and Roy, attempt to distract the zombies, while the 2 women, Hannah and Liv, run to the cars to get help. En route to the cars, the girls are ambushed. Liv is knocked out by a zombie and awakens to another, Liv is knocked out by a zombie and awakens to him and another zombie pulling out her intestines. Using a sticker grenade, she commits suicide and kills her assailants. Hannah leads the zombie to a cliff edge, breaks the ice, and they fall. The pair survive. Hannah kills the zombie. Martin and Roy accidentally set fire to the cabin with a Molotov cocktail. They escape and arm themselves with power tools. More zombies attack, but they are aided by Vagard. During the attack, Vagard is killed, and Martin accidentally kills Hannah, who has returned to the cabin. Fucking Wikipedia, get better at English. Herzog arrives, leading a group of zombies. They attack. Martin is bitten on the arm. To avoid being infected, he cuts his arm off with a chainsaw. After killing the remaining undead, Martin and Roy are about to attack Herzog, who calls upon hundreds of zombies that rise from under the snow. Whilst running from their attackers, Roy is hit in the head by a hammer, disemboweled by a tree branch, and killed by Herzog, who retrieves a watch from his pocket. The fucking commas in this thing are driving me insane, because I always feel like it's a pause. It's not a pause when write like a fucking child. Sorry. Martin realizes the zombie's intent, retrieves the box from a ruined cabin. He returns the box to Herzog, escapes to the car. There, he finds a gold coin in his pocket just as Herzog smashes the window of the car. Fucking thank God that's over.
Yeah, I mean, that was so rough that I like actually gagged. I was coughing so hard.
I got concerned for your safety. for a second there.
It's the fucking pollen, man. You know it doesn't fuck? Pollen.
Mm-mm.
My God, it is killing me today.
Yeah, it's bad. I'd finish mowing
So if
my
I
lawn.
sound a little raspy, it's literally because I just coughed up a lung and gagged a little bit off mic.
Not because you started smoking Misty 120s?
Not yet. Give me time. But like, have you ever had a tickle in your throat so bad you're like, I know I'm gonna gag.
Yep.
Just let me gag, and
Mhm.
it just you have to fucking. Meh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the only other note I had was going back to him fucking Chris in the goddamn bathroom. It was that at one point he looked like he was gonna cry, and I'm like, bitch, you should, because not only are you about to die, but two, this is never gonna happen to you again.
Sometimes when you outkick your coverage, you have to cry a little bit.
Fair, for sure, fair. The only other thing, apart from the tagline, this was the only thing that like my lip like twitched upward almost in a smirk. Was when that guy was looking for Sarah's boyfriend, whose name I fucking forget, Ford or Fergenderden. He he's fighting with that zombie, and he thinks he kills him, and then the zombie gets up again, and he just goes, okay, like, just resigned to like, I'm just gonna be fighting to the fucking death. That I like felt a little twitcher right here. But other than that,
When you tell me that this is a horror movie, a horror comedy, and this is not against you, this is against the description of the movie itself. Make fucking
Yeah.
jokes. Like, like the way that this movie was portrayed, in my opinion, is pretty similar to most B-rate horror movies that you get in the Americas. Like,
yeah,
you get a horror comedy here, you're gonna have fucking shitty one-liners. Like, you tell me you're watching a horror comedy, I'm watching Terror at Bloodfart Lake. Like, something that is so fucking on the nose that there's no way that it can be scary whatsoever.
yeah. I mean, I think with a title called Dead Snow, I did have an expectation that it was gonna be a little on the scarier side, but with, just a little sass.
Right.
I was not fearful at all.
Yeah, but you consider, so take comedy out of the description of this movie, which I don't know what the actual description is outside of what, most the genre lumpings. Yeah, but that's
It says fantasy horror comedy.
comedy, right. So I'm saying, like, the description itself, I don't know what it says to warrant it being a comedy, because there isn't like a lot of, like, you could argue that Dead Alive / Brain Dead, however you want to name it, is a comedy movie in and of itself, that it is kind of over the top. It's super fucking gory. It's super bloody. It's very not realistic. Not saying that this is a realistic movie, but they try to make it be somewhat realistic in the fact that zombies from World War II are killing these kids on this mountain, and once in a while someone says something funny, and by once in a while I mean once in 90 minutes of a movie, someone says something that could be kind of perceived as funny. Like, it's a stretch to really consider it a comedy movie, in my opinion.
If I would have seen this before I put it on and like we committed to recording an episode and I hadn't waited so long to watch it, I would probably cut it. But here we are now. It's too late.
Right. And in your defense, I did not remember much or any of it.
Yeah.
I did confuse it with the Genetic Opera. So there's that.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta learn lessons the hard way, and this is one of those times, man. I mean, it really is.
I learned it the
But
soft
like,
way.
it did make me very soft, very flaccid.
Yeah, I know.
It did make me kind of reflect on just the zombie genre as a whole, because it's like, even if you looked at it as just solely a horror movie with a couple jokes in it, they weren't good zombies. Like, you give me one episode of The Walking Dead, it fucking murders this. You give like I could name so many other, have you ever seen The Dead Don't Die yet?
Mm-hmm. I really like it, actually.
Okay. I think that's on here. But I absolutely loved that movie. Like, that is perfect zombie comedy right there.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
creep factor. I think they throw in a couple jump scares to like try and get you, but on the whole, it's literally Bill Murray and Adam Driver being like, yeah, there's fucking zombies out here. We got to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tilda Swinton being a weirdo that she is, but we love her for it.
Is what it is.
I don't know. There was nothing about it that I liked because like if they tried really hard and focused on one thing, it could have been Dead Snow, number one, great name, which always pisses me off when something has a really good name and it sucks. I'm looking at you, the Grateful Dead. I fucking hate them. I truly hate that band.
I don't blame you one bit.
That's your fucking vibe. I totally respect that. But when someone told me that, like, oh, you should listen to the Grateful Dead, it'll change your life, I'm like, that's a great fucking name for a band. I'm going to love it. Patently false for me. Sorry, Jerry. But, so, like, if they focus solely on making it a comedy about, like, these random Nazis being frozen to death and somehow turned into zombies, it could have potentially been, like, a super funny movie where they could have done, like, crazy stuff. Like, oh, these kids find this cursed Nazi gold, and when you do this, it rises the zombies from the grave. And, like, and I hate saying this because it's not fucking funny. World War II isn't funny. Nazis aren't funny, per se. Toss in Nazi humor, obnoxious accents, like, or, like, even make their fucking growls be kind of, like, German or weird or something. Anything. Fucking Lederhosen. Something. Give me something.
Give me one goose-stepping Nazi.
That would have been hilarious if if they were trying to be funny and they're rising from the grave and they're just kind of like, but like one leg kind of goes up because it's muscle memory. Mm-hmm. Funny. Or focus on the horror aspect.
Right. And it's not necessarily that you like the comedic value. There's plenty of people with a dark sense of humor. You and I included in that, where you fucking take it a little bit extreme, you're going to have a cult following. Or be a little bit on the softer side, but still lean into the Nazi or the German side, and you get the historic aspect, and it just makes it a little more believable. It's just, there's so many things that could have been done, and the fact that it got a fucking sequel is absolutely insane to me. I've never seen it. I have no interest in seeing it. I would rather punch myself in the genitals for 90 minutes than watch a sequel to this shit show.
Like a perfect example of, and I know you're going to fucking roll your eyes at me, but perfect example of how to like, like, I hate saying it again, Nazi humor, but have you ever seen Yoga Hosers, the Kevin Smith movie?
Yes. And
with the Bratzies?
Yes, and I thought that was fucking great, actually.
Yeah. See? They had these little bratwurst fucking sized dudes that were Nazis. That whole shtick came from, I believe, one of his shows called Hollywood Babylon, where he, the song, the intro song to the segment says, like, something about like, we're Germans, not Nazis. And so they basically do these German accents about these guys that were Nazis, but they're kind of like in hiding. And then it formed into Bratzies. It's fucking so stupid, but it's hilarious. A fucking bratwurst in an SS uniform is hilarious. Get them all together and they're killing people.
And my gripe with Yoga Hosers is not the fact that the Bratzies, it's the fact that Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp felt the need to put their children into a movie that they were the producers on. But it's the same fucking argument with why Corey Taylor's kids band is opening for Slipknot. Back to the argument is it's all in who you know. It's not how good you are. It's just who you know.
Yeah. I always forget that. I mean, even though her name is Lily Rose Depp, because she looks nothing like him. But even Johnny Depp in those films, and sorry, Johnny Depp haters, as I forget, it's like the French detective. I can't remember his name, but it's something stupid. He's fucking hilarious. He purposely made his nose, like the prosthetic on his nose, be the shape of a dick. You have to look really hard, and there's like a vein. On the side of his nose. It's great.
So in Googling during this conversation, I did not realize that Yoga Hosers exists in the Tusk universe, which we are going to cover, which is part of the True North trilogy, which includes Moose Jaws, which Johnny Depp's in all three, Lily Rose Depp's in all three, Harley Quinn Smith is in all three. There's other people that are in all three,
Moose Jaws
too.
hasn't been filmed yet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm excited. Moose Jaws hasn't been filmed yet. Yeah, it's still pending, but it's a coming. That's been in the works for like a decade. But yeah, he tossed his daughter in Tusk. Her and Lily Rose were grade school friends, and he needed it was like literally like just basically a small cameo of those two being clerks at the convenience store that they work at, and that
Don't
bred
ruin it. I haven't
into
seen
what
it yet.
No, I'm just saying that's what Yoga Hosers came from. Their just being two douchebag clerks to Justin Long's character, and then they got their own movie. I don't remember much about Yoga Hosers except the Bratzies and the hockey stick, but that's about it. Either which way, yeah, Dead Snow sucks. So let's get to some minutiaes to make Matt happy, because apparently he has a minutiae for me. So, some monster minutiae for you for Dead Snow. The Nazi zombies in this film are a combination of typical zombies in popular culture and ancient Norse mythical beings known as Drog. A Drog is an undead being who would inhabit graves, often the graves of important men, as they often had treasures in them. A Drog would protect these treasures as if it were their own. Now, if I knew that fucking lore, that would have been nice. If you would have given me some
Movie still
Drog
sucks.
details when you have some... Yeah, I know. But if you gave me a little bit more depth with the random dude who comes in and he's like, "What are you doing here? It's evil in this parts." Like, where the fuck? Here's the thing. People grossly underestimate how much I would deal with like some stranger's bullshit. Like, if some random dude came into my cabin where I'm with my friends, I'd be like, "Hey, are you okay, man? Do you need something to warm up? Like, are you stranded? What's going on? Here's a phone." Even though they didn't have signal, convenient. If he would have said no, I'd be like, "Then skedaddle, bitch." Like, what are you... I don't need to hear your fucking lecture. Don't be creepily rolling your cigarette at me. I don't want to hear your bullshit. I came to this cabin to not hear bullshit. I'm literally just like a fucking verb away from unhingedness, so people just need to fucking chill. Originally, this was going to be called Rod Snow, or Red Snow in English, as an homage to the Swedish-Norwegian miniseries with the same name. The film's main trailer shows black and white World War II archive footage, including battleships, parachuting, and a command room featuring Adolf Hitler, but this material is not seen in the actual movie. The English translation of the town of Oxford is Axford. Great. According to the date on one of the characters' tombstones shown in the sequel, this film takes place in April 2013. Oh, so in the future. The character of Erlin wears a t-shirt prominently featuring the words "brain dead" in English. Erlin's demise at the hands of a zombie is exactly the same way as the first zombie kill in the low-budget New Zealand film Dead Alive. The zombie gouges the victim's eyes out and splits his skull in half.
And Dead Alive is one of the first movies that Peter Jackson did.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
Was that your minutiae?
No, it's not. That's a side minutiae, but that's something I've known for... It's literally one of my favorite all-time movies.
I actually have never seen that.
Oh boy.
I think it's
I'll
on
stop
one.
there.
Okay.
It's fucking it has one of my favorite kills of all time. Literally, the dude walks into it's like an entranceway of like an ornate house full of zombies with the fucking bottom half of a push lawnmower and just walks through everyone. Oh, it's so good.
That's great.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
really a fucking good cheesy movie. So, Dead Alive / Brain Dead, depending on what side of the country you're on, and then Bad Taste are both Peter Jackson movies, and they're both hyper gory, super like B grade horror movies. They're so good.
I love that. Of fucking huge Lord of the Rings fame. He directed those. He directed the remake of King Kong, I believe in like 2003, 2004. And he also did The Frighteners, which is one movie that we covered a few months ago. When fighting the zombies at the end, Roy holds up a hammer and a sickle. One character asked Roy if medical school taught him what to do if his intestines were pulled out. This happens to Roy near the end of the film. Early on in the film, Hannah claims that she is claustrophobic. She's later buried under the snow after the avalanche. Yeah, I hate that. Was a fucking part that I hated too, seeing her fucking nose drizzle in the snow. I was like, that's disgusting. But however, the only thing that I took from this movie that I was like, that's fucking smart, I'm going to remember that till the day I die, is if you get buried in any type of capacity, snow or otherwise, and your instinct is to burrow and not kind of climb your way up because you're disoriented, spit or use some sort of, gravitational thing, see which way it fucking goes. If it goes up your face, you're upside down. Flip around. Fucking genius. Sorry. That's the only thing I give this movie credit for. If I'm ever buried alive, I know how the fuck to get out or which direction to generally go. Up. So what was your minutiae? I'm so curious.
I'm creating a pause here in case you said it and I missed it because I am a little drunk at this point.
I hope I can leave this in.
Yeah, anyways. But so when creating the zombies for the movie, Tommy Wirkola concluded the best way to enhance the horror is to make them Nazis, essentially. So they were originally just zombies, and he's like, well, we can make this worse by making them Nazis. That's how they became Nazis in the movie, is just the fact they're like, the only way to make these guys worse is to make them Nazis.
The worst people in the world.
Yeah. So, and that's literally, it's not like a huge one, but it was like, then they can use he used the historical backdrop of the Nazi occupation in Norway in developing the film's plot. So it was like, it kind of played into the whole thing about putting it in Norway and, whatever, all that shit. But yeah, that's my minutiae.
I like it. And I did not say it. I wonder what where the fascination began with like Nazi zombies. I'm curious if it was like Call of Duty, because I remember playing that and it's terrifying. Play Nazi zombies all the time of yesteryear, and I think you still can.
So the first time that the Nazi zombies existed in Call of Duty was at World at War at 2008. So it is in theory possible that they saw that and then this movie became a thing.
Yeah. The only other iteration of Nazis I've seen be zombies is like a Walter Flanagan graphic novel called War of the Undead, which I have, I believe, the first volume of that. It's very hard to come across all 3 volumes because it's a very rare comic. They did not reprint it, but yeah, I forget the storyline with that. It's been like a decade since I've read it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fascination is with Nazis being zombies. They already suck, and now they're gonna eat you.
Because the human race is garbage, so it's like, how do you make something worse? You make a zombie
True.
a Nazi, or you make a Nazi a zombie. It doesn't get much worse than that.
Okay, question for you. Speaking of zombies, because I actually, I know people got zombied out, especially around, Walking Dead times. Which, you will never watch The Walking Dead. Why?
I watched season 1, and I just remember just being very uninterested by the end of it. And then it became so, culturally cool that I had no interest in seeing it. And that was it. So it came out in 2010 would have been the first year, because it was right when I moved in with Alyssa. So at that point, 2010, I would have been 24, 25. So cool things were the uncool things. So I think that is why I originally didn't watch it beyond season 1. And then at the point in which I would have went back to watch it, everyone was just like, it's just really not that great anymore. Probably right around the same time as when I met our friend Kevin, who famously works at AMC, and just hearing a lot of that, and I was just like, it's like, trying to think of another example. It's like a mainstream version of something that is a niche thing that I like. So it's like the movie Hesher, who made Hesh metal cool in an artsy form. The Walking Dead took zombies and they made it cool for the masses. And it's like, that just kind of doesn't appeal to me, because it's like a broad stroke. Therefore, it really doesn't hold my attention. Same with Game of Thrones, where it's like, I'm really picky with my fantasy because I'm not really a fantasy guy, but they've just went well, let's just fucking bukkake everybody and see how many people we can bring in. So it's kind of that whole idea where it's like, they've taken something that's a niche concept that is something that I may or may not be into, and then they're just like, well, let's just make it as broad as possible to make as much money as possible. I feel like I gave the most Donald Trump answer tonight. It's a great zombie show. we're going to be great. It's great. Everyone's going to be dead. There's going to be zombies. I do not do a good Donald Trump impression.
34 Donald Trump shows.
34.
What did I say?
I think you said 30.
Oh, no, I think I said, I don't know what I
If
said.
we're getting the felony convictions right, we're doing it right.
No, yeah. 34 and counting. Do you have a favorite iteration of zombie, like in video games, show, movie? Like if you had to pick your top for all three of those, favorite zombie in a video game, favorite in a TV show, if there is one, and film, obviously, what would thou pick?
It's a fucking tough one. I really like traditional zombies. So like the Dead Rising games, because they were very close to Dawn of the Dead. Like Dead Rising is essentially Dawn of the Dead in a video game. I can't, and I'm trying to like think this through before just saying like, oh, Dawn of the Dead. But like the old school zombies where they're like, there's a fucking ton of them. They don't move very quick. They're not very smart. They're dumb animals is kind of what I've always been used to. So like even, and I don't remember it entirely, but I remember I liked it. It was like a French movie called Zombie 3. Zombie with no E. I believe there was a 1 and 2, but we only watched 3 when I was in high school. But it's just the slower, like a zombie is a dumb, slow moving eating machine. So that's what I like. Yeah. So anything beyond that, I don't want to say I don't like. It's just not necessarily my preferred. So take what Dead Snow did, and then you're like, okay, well, how do we make the traditional slow zombie scarier? Well, we make them Nazis. It's like, okay. So yeah, so it's like this is just an extension on that with a really god-awful story. But yeah. I'll say Dead Rising and Dawn of the Dead.
Those are solid choices. I like it. For me, I have like a couple that come to mind. Like obviously The Last of Us in the TV show and the video game. I really love the concept of, because it's always like, oh, it's radiation. Oh, it's some curse, or, you know, just some weird iteration of like, or rage, you know, virus, whatever, which I love the concept of the rage virus. I loved the idea behind it's a fungal infection because it's real. I love like realism in certain aspects of horror because it makes it very scary, because it's true. If that fungus adapts to the heat in our bodies, the human race is fucked.
Right.
So that's what's pretty fascinating about that. So I always lean towards The Last of Us because I love that iteration. Because it's unique. It's not just a person which is like, oh, brains. They're literally just trying to spread an infection. Mm-hmm. However, going back to the rage virus, I do like 28 Days Later, but I love 28 Weeks Later even more so. And the fact that they're doing 28 years later.
28 years later?
I am fucking jazzed. Is it going to be 28
years? No, it won't be quite as long. Oh. But, so, and I guess to focus on the 28 trilogy, 28 time trilogy, it's the closest thing to reality we've ever seen. Because I mean, take for instance 2020 pandemic shut the fucking world down. We're watching COVID spread. Like I remember driving and there being no one around. I remember gas being 89 cents a gallon here. I remember at one point using my fucking Quick Trip points, which only means something to like people in 3 states, and I think I paid 15 cents a gallon because of all that shit. And it's like, it was weird, but also in the back of your mind, everyone was like, okay, well, something mutates this further because we continue to watch the COVID-19 mutate. All of a sudden we have the fucking rage virus, or we have something that is doing that. So it's like the shit rooted in reality is a little more terrifying as opposed to, oh, I've died and I've come back because a voodoo queen put a hex on me and now I'm a zombie. So I agree with that in terms of that. But the speed of the rage monsters in the 28 takes a little bit out of it. But
aggressive.
It is a
Yeah.
little aggressive. So, and we've talked about it before, is I don't necessarily consider them zombies, even though they are in the zombie zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But it just becomes splitting hairs at that point, to be honest.
I do agree with Dawn of the Dead though. I loved the original and the remake. It's very rare that I enjoy both. Night of the Living Dead, you have to kind of nod your hat out. All of
Yeah.
those like Return of the Living Dead, blah blah blah. Like those, it's just good. Like the zombie genre is just fucking good because you can change it so much. You can do the fungal infection, the rage ones, the voodoo witch ones, the radiation from the fucking sewers, like the Return of the Living Dead or whatever it was. A fucking moon rock falls to the ground and it fucking turns everybody in this field into a zombie. Like it just, the possibilities are endless. Whereas you have like werewolf movies, vampire movies. You can't really change it up too much. You can change up the lore a smidge, but at the end of the day, people are getting bitten and that's how it's fucking transferring. That's it. And zombies are that way too. Like you fucking fly. Sorry, it just fucking like got in my face. I'm just getting so mad. Zombies can bite and, transfer their disease to you too, but they don't have to. Like that's not a necessity. You fuck asshole. Oh, this elusive bitch. I hate it. Anyway, that's all I got on zombies because now the fly deterred me. I'm leaving this all in. So now, next segment of the show, because this fucking fly has agitated me beyond belief.
Wow.
Yay, nay, or slay. I'm doing it. I'm slaying this one. I will never watch it again. Ever. I did not enjoy an ounce of it.
It's been so long. Slay is worse than nay, yeah, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. So watch it, don't watch it, or fucking trash can this motherfucker. So I'm going to slay it. The only way to make slay worse. This movie is dog shit. It's not even like the good type of dog shit that you might be able to fertilize a plant with. It's bad. This is not the first time I've seen it and hated it. It's the second time I've seen it and hated it. This just reiterated how much I hated it. If this was fucking Men on Films, it would be hated it.
Hated it.
Yeah, it's fucking bad. And like even if you English overdubbed it, I don't think it would be enjoyable. But the force of concentration so that I could read the Herdegruder is way worse. I'm just glad that I know the next movie I'm going to enjoy and we can fucking turn this fucking piece of shit around.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I did watch 10 minutes of it on YouTube because I thought I could find the whole thing with an English dub because I was like, this is just hard to focus on. 10 minutes of it was on there and I was like so excited. And even the English dub, it like loses. It's kind of like watching High Tension. High Tension is a great horror movie.
Yeah.
But when you put the English dub on it, it loses a little bit of its finesse. And I don't know. I believe it's French. Some things get lost in translation when like people's mouths aren't matching with what you're watching. But yeah, no, this is a fucking all notes, 0 stars, bad.
Yeah.
And you know what's sick is that I'll probably fucking watch the second one to be like, did they improve it?
No, don't do that to yourself. You're better than that. Your time is worth more than that.
Fair. All right, fine.
I've never seen it. I have no interest in seeing it, and I don't think you need to see it either.
You know what annoys me though is that on lists, because like obviously I do research to see like what are people saying, like these are the fucking XYZ movies of this list you have to see. And this was on numerous lists of like this is a zombie movie you have to watch. I gained nothing from this. Nothing.
People also think that Manos in the Hands of Fate is a cult fucking classic movie and that it's one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life. It is so bad. I have been after Captain Joe Shoes and Gomez to watch this on the Car Gomez podcast, and they haven't, and I still am after them so that they understand my pain.
I have that on my Plex. I need to watch it. I've downloaded it because you said that.
It's so fucking bad. I'm actually going to fucking message them when we're done here about how they need to watch that shit.
Do it. All right. The final segment of the show, which always brings us, even if we watch a turd like Dead Snow, 2009, a smile can be brought to our faces because the final segment of the show is, does it fuck? The only thing I had written down is my little choppy bitch from Mueller to chop my veggies and stuff and to make my pico de gallo.
Which you talked me into buying one
Rising?
also.
Urge to kill rising.
Yeah,
Rising.
it's not fucking. What is stand up? Anyways, yeah, you talked me into buying a choppy bitch too.
I know. And was I wrong?
You're not wrong. I made some pico de gallo. I also used it to chop onions and peppers when making my dear sweet wife onions and peppers and a meat thing. And I was like, hey, I got this chopper. And she goes, I know, I saw it on the Amazon orders. And I said, sucks to suck. I don't know. I had nothing better to say. It was incredible. I taught her while making a frittata one morning. She said, that's quite aggressive. And
There
I
you
said,
go.
shut the fuck up. I'm making a frittata.
Hiya!
And I went, "Hiya!" I was like mid-sentence. And I was like, so we were talking about, hiya! That's really aggressive. And I said, you'll fucking taste it in the frittata. I don't know.
Yeah, I knew you'd love it because and I know exactly what fucking blade you use because you love chunk. The aggressive amount of chunk your food is, I know you're using the fucking large square. You're not using
It's
the
not
tiny
a it's
square.
not a large square. It is a big blade though. I will send you a picture as soon as we're done here. But it's not the large square
No.
because I don't find that sharp. But it is a large fucking blade because I'm there for speed, not comfort.
Not surprised.
What? Like I start
you're not
out
wrong.
with the
You're not
best of
wrong.
intentions with chopping, and 13 seconds in, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I hate my life, and then we get bigger and bigger. The choppy bitch is taking that out.
There you go. There you go.
So much so that I just eating pico de gallo till my dick hurts.
That's. I almost fucking died. I made pico de gallo, and you can choose to not put jalapeno on it. In it.
What are you, a communist?
All around it. Not today. So I put in 2 because I made a batch and I gave some to Mikey.
Love you,
because my man loves
Mikey.
pico de gallo, and I'm a Mikey, and I'm a good dogger. And I de-seeded it, or however you want to call that, because I was like, I don't want it to be too spicy, but I left a couple little seeds in there. God damn, was that a spicy jalapeno? I almost fucking keeled over.
Well, onions, much like jalapenos, are very they vary wildly in their spice.
Yes.
That's really the best way
Sometimes
to put
it shocks me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, a jalapeno on the Scoville isn't really that bad. But yet when I bite into that bitch, I'm like fucking running around like my head's on fire, like I'm a fucking cartoon. But, that's all I had for Does It Fuck. Buy yourself a Mueller choppy bitch. Just Google that on Amazon. That's all I had. Do you have anything?
Do I have anything?
Oh, boy.
So I have some shit in the fridge that I'm hoping is going to fuck real hard when we're done here. Someone had sent it to me, and I think it was actually on Shark Tank, but it was like a edible cookie dough, but it's protein cookie dough. When I got the fucking order, all I thought to myself was, it was this much for this, and I got 6 different flavors, 2 ounces a piece. It's like fucking $40. But
Ooh.
yeah, you can get big tubs. It's a little more cost effective, I guess, I'm sure. But I wanted the sampler because I like my options. So I'm hoping that shit fucks. The Slappy Boy does fuck pretty hard. The only reason I left my house today was for a very specific cheese curd. Those fuck. This is going to sound very silly if you don't live in Wisconsin. But it was 2 females who did 4-H that had a specific type of cow, a Guernsey cow. And then they basically turned it into a dairy. So you go to like a outbuilding in the backside of this lady's house to get the shit. And it is all self-service on your honor. So you walk into a fucking room, you pick up what you're going to buy, you write down on a sheet, and then you either leave cash or Venmo them for what you've bought. And then that's it. But
It's literally like when Michael accidentally bought a caprese salad.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard you dealt.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like, but they also team up with a guy who does local hot sauce called Mr. Burns, which, if you know us, the Simpsons reference. So they basically toss these fucking cheese curds in this guy's hot sauce, and their shit's incredible, and it sells out instantly. So it's like I went as soon as they put that shit out. and got some. I got 2 bags actually. But what I did is I threw them in my air fryer. For it ended up being 7 minutes because I started folding laundry. But it's like you get the crispy outside, but the soft hot inside. That shit fucks hard. What else did I have that fucks? I got these like little oat muffin things with jelly inside. Those fuck pretty hard from Costco called Bobos. There's strawberry and apple.
Bobo.
Both equally fuck pretty good. I got white cheddar popcorn seasoning from Orville Redenbacher. That shit fucks super hard. Popcorn is a sleeper snack.
Ooh.
If you're unsure, popcorn is a fucking sleeper snack.
That reminded me, I have an addition to my Does It Fuck at Aldi, back in my Aldi bullshit. And I think I sent you a picture of it. The cheddar jalapenos, back at jalapenos too. It's all the same bullshit for me. But they had a cheddar jalapeno popcorn that was fucking delightful. My only gripe is that it didn't really have a jalapeno flavor, but it had the spice, and it just tasted like spicy cheddar popcorn, which no complaints here, no notes. Eat the fuck out of it. I think I ate the whole bag. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Trying to think. Jalapeno popper wisps. If you're in the wisp game.
Ooh.
Jalapeno popper, they just took mozzarella and pepper jack and then some additional shit. Those fuck hard. Super spicy for what they are. Spicy queso black bean sun chips. Those fuck pretty hard. I'm trying to think of snacks that I've had recently. I think that's probably it. Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of like shitty snacks. I am super fucking excited. The Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme is available. If you have the Taco Bell app, I'm planning on eating that tomorrow on my way to meet Dylan at the barcade. So that'll be it does it fuck for the next time we meet. But yeah, that and the McDonald's remix menu's coming back. That has some shit that fucks, like the sweet chili McChicken.
Ooh.
Yeah. Summertime should result in some decent snacks. Also, a lot of bugs. So those don't fuck. They fuck. They fuck because they exist in millions, but they don't fuck because they're fucking awful and I hate bugs.
Yeah, clearly you could hear me fucking battling a goddamn fly this whole fucking episode.
Yeah, it ain't great.
No. This is, I mean, aside from the heat, the bugs are the fucking worst part of this goddamn season. And I just want fucking fall again. I just want fall. Is there, listeners write in, is there a place on this earth where it is fall 365? Just give it to me.
But also, if it exists, I'm moving there too. I've pulled 2 ticks off of me so far. One time I was in a restaurant and it was just crawling on my knees, so I had to deal with that. And then the other one was it was in my kitchen, so I was able to just murder that bitch. But I forgot I have to put on the deep woods DEET off when mowing the lawn. Ever since doing that, I haven't had one on me, but it's just like, fuck, man. I just want to fucking exist.
I know. I need to get that because on my oldest daughter, I got a message from her dad that she had a tick on her head and they got it out. It had bit on the top of her head. And so like they got tweezers, took it out. And I was sent a picture of it and it was horrendous.
So text my wife. She found a tick glove that it's supposed to, you rub fucking dogs, children, all that shit. The ticks are supposed to come up on the glove. Mm-hmm. But also tick keys, where if they do burrow in, you use the tick key and it's supposed to pull it all out because the head can. But like the ticks are really fucking bad this year. So like when we did our wrestling thing, and it was a couple weeks ago, the sound guy, our DJ Bob, whoop whoop, pulled a tick out of his back. And it's like they live in inner city Milwaukee, and then we're in Oshkosh in the city. So I was like, well, where were you that you would have picked up a tick? And he goes, I had no fucking clue. So yeah, they're gnarly this year.
Literally could not trace where she would have gotten it because I had washed her hair the night before and I brushed both of my kids' hair multiple times a day. Like I do their hair in the morning, I do it at night. And yeah, this thing was like at the very top of her head and it was fucking the size of a dime.
Dude, they're wild.
Like, there's no way I would have missed that.
Wild. There's been a couple times where I've mowed the lawn, showered, and then the next morning I have longer hair normally. I fucking pull them and tip a tick out. So if I get the creepy crawlers right now, I have to fucking do the. You can't just act errantly. Smoke crack and worship Satan, kids.
And put on some deet. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Monster Madness. Sorry that we hated the movie, but, we do this so you don't have to. Next time, what is the next movie?
Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
True. I'm excited. I have never seen that movie. We might potentially have a guest for that episode if schedules align. But if not, yeah. That's what we'll be watching next time, so watch it in advance. Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.